UFC pay-per-views are back, baby, and we're starting off this year great with the UFC 283 Glover Teixeira versus Jam- Jamal Hill. Excuse me. Oh man, very excited to get back into the UFC grind. For UFC 283, I'll actually be at Disneyland, so I will be missing most of this card, but hopefully they'll be showing some of the fights at some of the bars and the restaurants and such at the boulevard and such. So hopefully I can get some fights in. But either way, watch it or not, I'm here for the betting. So you know how it is. This is my personal picks. These are just my opinions of the matchups for the main card, UFC 283, first pay per view of the year. So starting off, kicking off the main card is Paul Craig versus Johnny Walker. This is a very interesting matchup right here. Johnny Walker's a pretty decent, small favorite, small favorite. I reckon that people are drawn to his power, his striking. But you know what? You can't count out Paul Craig. Dude's got some TKO finishes himself, and he is a very experienced grappler. Can't be surprised if he pulls out another like submission win out of nowhere. And of course, Johnny Walker did have like a surprise submission win recently off of his last fight, sometime in 2022. Don't have too much to say, but I'm pretty glad that these fighters are finally fighting each other. I've known about these names for a bit. Yeah, should be a good fight. Yeah, I'll probably have to go with Johnny Walker just for his power, but once again, I'm not going to count out Paul Craig. Should be interesting. Should be interesting. So next up, we have women's flyweight bout. So that's Lauren Murphy versus Jessica Andrade. Man, Jessica Andrade coming off of that standing arm triangle submission win. Um, awesome. Like that was awesome. That was probably my pick for submission of the year. Um, I just think it's so cool. And she's definitely riding momentum. She is a huge betting favorite. I think the largest betting favorite on this card. Oh, well, pretty close, but she is the largest betting favorite on this card. Yeah, I'm gonna go Jessica Andrade. I mean, she's so technical, so skilled. She's in her prime in comparison to Lauren Murphy, who I believe is in her 40s now. I mean, not to say that Lauren Murphy doesn't have, um, you know, top fighter experience. Contender. She's fought a lot of tough fighters, and such. But yeah, I'm probably gonna go with Jessica Andrade on this. Really, not much else to say. Once again, should be really interesting. All right, here we go. Another large betting favorite. Gilbert Burns is a minus 460 betting favorite against Neil Magny, which I can't see as a surprise. I mean, Neil Magny has a pretty surprising resume. He's beaten Kevin Gastelum, um, Johnny Hendricks, but a post USADA Johnny Hendricks is still, you know, to fight Gilbert Burns is, now, ranked, number 5 ranked Gilbert Burns now, who went toe to toe with Khamzat Chimaev in a fight that I think he arguably won. Yeah, it's a big step up in competition for Neil Magny. And whether or not Gilbert Burns won the Chimaev fight, it's up to you, but you can't argue that it was a close fight. Gilbert Burns definitely belongs at the top of the welterweight division, and I'm very surprised that this fight came through. But I guess these guys have I guess maybe this is the timing worked out. So yeah, I'm gonna go Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns is a tough dude. I mean, not to say that Magny isn't big and may not pose a challenge, but hey, I think as far as the skill set goes, I do see Gilbert Burns taking this, whether or not by decision, um, yeah, likely decision or by finish. So yeah, I'm gonna go Gilbert Burns. Okay. Well, I know what you're here for. I kept this short and sweet so we can get to the good stuff. Davison Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno for the first championship quadrilogy in UFC, and I believe just the first quadrilogy overall. Yeah, the biggest rivalry in the flyweight division. Two evenly matched fighters. Yeah, this should be really, really interesting. I'm actually surprised that Brandon Moreno is the favorite in this matchup because I think when Figgy has had a good weight cut, he won the fights. The first fight was a draw, but that was because of the deducted point sometime during the fight. And otherwise, Figgy would have won. He had the bad weight cut in the second fight, and in the third fight, I don't think it was a robbery. I did give it to Figgy. So I think God forbid these guys fight 10 times, but I would say um, 6 out of the 10 times Figgy would win. But of course, it's not to say that I wouldn't bet on Brandon Moreno either. I do like him more as a fighter. I probably would be rooting for him, but I think to seal the deal, leave no questions, um, leave no questions unanswered. Brandon Moreno would have to pull all the stops because each fight, apart from the second fight, was very very close. So first and third fight were still very competitive. Can't go wrong with either of these two fighters winning. They're both very entertaining fighters. Brandon Moreno, we all know how he is, super nice guy and never always turns in an entertaining fight. And then Figgy, frequent finisher at flyweight. Um, yeah, these two deserve to be at the top, and this should be another freaking banger. I'm really looking for this, and let's just hope that this rivalry gets sealed once for all. But yeah, like I said, I can't feel too confident about betting on either. But yeah, and last but not least, we have Glover Teixeira versus Oh gosh, Jamahal Hill. Apologies for any mispronunciation. So interestingly enough, Hill is the betting favorite against Teixeira, especially after that performance that Teixeira had in his last fight. Like, yes, he lost, but he lost because of a mistake. You know what I mean? I guess the same narrative that you could apply with Yuri versus Teixeira, or I guess Prochazka versus Teixeira, is a similar narrative you can pull from Hill versus Teixeira. Hill is coming off of multiple knockout TKO wins on a win streak. Dude's got power. He's only like 31. He's in his prime versus Glover Teixeira, who is years past his prime, and not to mention had just gone through a war against Yuri Prochazka. And we've seen what happens before when a fighter takes a lot of punishment. The biggest example is Tony Ferguson after the Justin Gaethje fight. He was never the same after that fight, and this is Glover, who was even older when he went through a battle like that. So would Teixeira be able to take the same punishment he was able to against Prochazka? Um, that is still a question to have. With that said, I don't think Jamal Hills has anything. I think that he poses the same challenges that Prochaska posed for Teixeira in the sense that he's younger and has a lot of power, right? And just more physically primed. But I don't think he provides anything new for Teixeira. You know what I mean? Yuri has this unorthodox way of striking, volume and angles and such like that. Um, I just don't feel like Hill will provide any new challenges for Teixeira. It's just all about whether or not Teixeira can still hold up after a war like that. When you go past your prime in combat sports, you don't know how long you have until you fully decline. You could have a few years, you could have a long time, but what we see all the time is that when you decline quickly. So we can't I can't know for sure. Hill doesn't also get hit as much as Prochaska. He is more cautious when it comes to his defense, but um, after that performance at UFC 275, Glover Teixeira just giving Prochaska the fight of his life. I'm going with the underdog here. I'm betting on Glover Teixeira to win this battle. Teixeira can take it to the ground. He does well on the feet. It's just all about whether or not his body is able to hold up. You know what I mean? But yeah, hopefully we can get this vacant title. A champion. Yeah, so really, really looking forward to this. And yeah, those are my thoughts on UFC 273. Two awesome championship fights right here. Really looking forward to it, and a really good card overall. I'm very happy with this card. They're starting off pretty well. So either way, go ahead and let me know your picks down below. You know how it is, and yeah, I'll catch you next time.